Why does everything happen to you? Everything happens for a reason, according to Buddhist wisdom. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life's unpredictability, questioning why you seem to face challenge after challenge? It's easy to feel as though the universe is working against you. Whether it's a job loss, the end of a relationship, or facing overwhelming personal struggles, the instinct is often to feel like a victim of circumstance. But what if, instead of viewing these difficulties as setbacks, we saw them as opportunities, stepping stones on a larger, interconnected journey? The idea that everything happens for a reason is a profound concept in Buddhist philosophy. In its essence, life is not a random series of events. Instead, there is an underlying order, an interconnected web where every action, no matter how small, plays a role in the greater scheme of things. It's easy to overlook the wisdom embedded in this, especially when we are knee-deep in our struggles. But understanding the deeper truths of our existence can offer not just comfort, but a transformative perspective. Chapter 1. The Universal Web of Interconnectedness. Buddhism deeply emphasizes the interconnectedness of all life. This principle teaches us that everything we do, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, has a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. Imagine a pebble thrown into a calm pond. The ripples that emerge spread out, touching everything in their path. Similarly, every thought, word, and action we take creates ripples in the vast ocean of existence. Our actions are never isolated. They are intricately connected to the lives of others and the world around us. This concept of interconnectedness helps explain why events unfold in the way they do. As every interaction, no matter how brief or seemingly inconsequential, plays a role in the grand tapestry of life. Reflecting on this interconnectedness has led me to appreciate the value of small, seemingly mundane interactions. We often dismiss the little moments, holding the door for someone, offering a genuine smile, or expressing a kind word. However, these small gestures are not trivial. They are the threads that weave together the intricate web of our shared experience. Buddhism teaches us to see the significance in these moments, reminding us that they contribute to the overall harmony of life. Even a brief exchange can change the course of someone's day, creating a positive shift in their mindset, or perhaps even in their life's direction. Furthermore, this interconnectedness extends beyond our human interactions. It binds us to nature, to the animals, to the earth, and to the cosmos. Every tree, every animal, every breeze is part of this grand web. The interconnectedness of all things reminds us that we are not separate from the world around us. We are part of it, and every action we take has an impact, whether we see it or not. By recognizing this, we begin to understand that our choices matter, not just for ourselves but for all beings and the environment. Living with this awareness calls us to live more mindfully, to act with greater compassion and consideration. When we understand that every action has a ripple effect, we begin to make more conscious decisions. We learn to treat others with kindness and respect, recognizing that their experiences are part of our shared journey. We also start to take better care of the planet, knowing that our environment is not something separate from us but an integral part of our existence. Ultimately, the Buddhist teaching of interconnectedness invites us to see the world not as a collection of isolated events but as a web of relationships, each connected to the other. This understanding shifts our perspective, helping us live more intentionally and harmoniously. It reminds us that we are all part of a greater whole. And in that recognition, we can cultivate compassion, mindfulness, and a deep sense of responsibility for the world around us. Chapter 2. The Lesson of Impermanence. Impermanence, or anicca, is one of the foundational teachings of Buddhism. It reminds us that everything in life is in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains the same forever. This includes our achievements, relationships, emotions, and even our struggles. While this may seem unsettling, especially when we wish for certain aspects of life to remain unchanged, it holds a deeper truth that can bring us liberation. By acknowledging that nothing lasts forever, we learn to let go of the unrealistic expectation that we can control everything. And this, in turn, allows us to find peace in the flow of life. When we hold onto the idea that things should remain as they are, we create unnecessary resistance. This resistance often leads to stress, anxiety, and frustration. We cling to things, whether they are people, material possessions, or our own successes, because we fear their loss. But the more we attempt to control these things, the more we are bound to suffer when change inevitably occurs. Impermanence teaches us that change is not something to resist, but a natural part of life's rhythm. It encourages us to embrace the constant ebb and flow of existence, recognizing that each moment is fleeting and that this transience is what gives life its richness. Reflecting on impermanence has deepened my understanding of the importance of living in the present. In the past, I often found myself worrying about what might happen or regretting what had already passed. But by practicing mindfulness and reflecting on the impermanent nature of everything, I've learned to let go of these distractions and focus on the now. It is through this focus on the present moment that I can find true peace. By releasing the need to hold on to the past or control the future, I've been able to cultivate a sense of freedom that was previously elusive. One of the most profound shifts in my life came when I began to understand that letting go of attachment does not mean abandoning love or care. Instead, it means approaching life with open hands, ready to embrace whatever comes our way. When we stop clinging to people, things, or outcomes, we allow ourselves to experience life more fully. We become more resilient in the face of change, less shaken by loss, and more present in each interaction. Meditating on impermanence has helped me to see that everything, even the most painful experiences, will pass. When faced with hardship, I now remind myself that this, too, is impermanent. This understanding doesn't diminish the pain, but it puts it in perspective. It gives me the strength to endure and the wisdom to recognize that change is the constant of life. Through this practice, I've found that I can face uncertainty with a calm and open heart, welcoming the inevitable changes that come my way, rather than fearing them. Ultimately, the lesson of impermanence is not just about accepting change, but about freeing ourselves from the attachments that bind us. By embracing the transitory nature of life, we open ourselves to living more fully and more authentically. We realize that life's beauty lies not in its permanence, but in its ever-changing nature. And it is in accepting this truth that we find freedom, peace, and a deeper connection to the present moment. Chapter 3. Karma, the Chain of Cause and Effect. Karma, in its essence, is not a simple cause and effect mechanism but a profound law of interconnectedness that shapes our lives. In Buddhism, karma is often referred to as the law of moral cause and effect, meaning that every action, whether positive or negative, creates consequences that ripple out into the universe. These consequences may not always be immediate or obvious, but they are undeniably tied to the actions, thoughts, and words we choose. It's important to note that karma doesn't operate on the level of cosmic punishment or reward. Rather, it serves as a reminder that every choice we make has an impact, both on our lives and the lives of others. One of the most profound realizations I've had is that our actions, especially those driven by intention, set in motion a series of events that we cannot always foresee. Whether we realize it or not, we are constantly creating our own reality through the decisions we make. And these decisions often have a far-reaching impact. It's easy to think of karma in terms of something external or otherworldly, but it is actually a deeply personal experience. The consequences of our actions can shape our emotional, mental, and physical well-being, as well as our relationships with others. This idea of karma as a law of interconnectedness highlights the importance of mindfulness in our daily lives. I have come to see that it's not just about avoiding negative actions or seeking rewards, but rather cultivating awareness and intentionality in everything we do. Every moment provides an opportunity to choose how we respond to the world around us. For example, when we respond to frustration with patience, we are creating a ripple of calm that can positively influence those around us. On the other hand, when we react impulsively or with anger, we set in motion negative ripples that can deepen conflicts and create lasting harm. Furthermore, karma teaches us that our intentions are just as important, if not more so, than the actions themselves. I've observed that when I act with kindness and empathy, the world often seems to mirror that energy, bringing more peace and compassion into my life. Conversely, when I act out of selfishness or with ill will, I tend to attract negativity and discord. This insight has been crucial in helping me become more mindful of my thoughts and motivations. Every action starts with an intention, and that intention has the power to shape not only the outcome but the entire trajectory of my life. Buddhism urges us to approach life with compassion and awareness, recognizing that our actions do not occur in a vacuum. The choices we make ripple outward, creating effects that we may not see but that affect the greater web of life. By acting with mindfulness and compassion, we are not only improving our own lives but contributing to a more harmonious and peaceful world. Karma is, ultimately, a guide to understanding the deep interconnection between all things, and it reminds us that we are all active participants in creating the reality we experience. Chapter 4. Mindfulness, the Gateway to Understanding. Mindfulness is not just a practice, it is a way of living that brings us into harmony with the present moment. In Buddhism, mindfulness, or sati, is the foundational practice that cultivates awareness and clarity. It teaches us to observe ourselves, our thoughts, feelings, and actions, as well as our surroundings without judgment. This simple yet profound practice allows us to break free from the constant noise and distractions of the mind, giving us the space to experience life as it truly is, in its fullness. The power of mindfulness lies in its ability to shift our perception and response to life's challenges. In a world full of distractions and fast-paced living, we often react to situations impulsively, driven by unconscious habits and unchecked emotions. Mindfulness disrupts this reactive cycle by teaching us to pause, breathe, and observe before acting. Instead of being swept away by our thoughts or emotions, we begin to see them clearly for what they are, temporary and fleeting. This awareness enables us to respond with more intention, less reactivity, and greater calm. As I've deepened my practice of mindfulness, I've noticed significant changes in how I engage with the world. For instance, when faced with a difficult situation or emotional turmoil, mindfulness gives me the clarity to acknowledge the emotion without being overwhelmed by it. I can observe my feelings of anger, sadness, or frustration and let them be without attaching judgment or identification. In this space of non-judgment, I find that the intensity of these emotions lessens, allowing me to approach the situation with a clearer mind and a more peaceful heart. Mindfulness also helps us recognize how often we are caught up in the past or future. So much of our suffering comes from dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about what lies ahead. Through mindfulness, we learn to release these attachments and come back to the present moment. In that moment, there is no room for regret or anxiety, there is only the now. The present moment, when fully experienced, contains all the richness we need, whether it's the sensation of breath, the warmth of the sun, or the simple joy of being alive. In my journey, mindfulness has helped me become more attuned to the subtle aspects of life, the small moments that we often overlook. A smile from a stranger, the sound of birds singing, the feeling of the ground beneath my feet. All of these become more vibrant and meaningful when we practice mindfulness. This heightened awareness fosters gratitude, deepening our connection to life and to others. What I've come to realize is that mindfulness is not merely a technique to manage stress or anxiety. It is a gateway to deeper understanding. Through mindfulness, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all things. We recognize that our thoughts, actions, and words have a profound impact on ourselves and the world around us. As we become more aware of the present moment, we are also drawn closer to the truth of impermanence, the understanding that nothing lasts forever, and all things are in a constant state of change. This insight, combined with mindfulness, gives us the freedom to embrace life with a lighter, more open heart. We learn not to cling to moments of joy or resist moments of pain because we understand that both are transient. By living fully in the present, we step into the flow of life with grace, allowing the currents of experience to carry us without struggle. Mindfulness is the practice that awakens us to the truth of our existence, helping us navigate life with clarity, compassion, and peace. By bringing attention to each moment, we can live with a deeper sense of purpose, becoming more attuned to the wisdom that resides within us and the world around us. Chapter 5. Ethical Living. Aligning with Buddhist Precepts. Ethical living, rooted in Buddhist precepts, is much more than adhering to a set of external rules. It's about embodying virtues that align with the deeper aspects of our nature. Buddhism teaches that our actions, speech, and thoughts are expressions of our inner state, and they have a direct impact on the world around us. Every choice we make, whether small or large, contributes to the collective energy of the universe. Therefore, living ethically is not simply a matter of following guidelines. It's a way of being that cultivates kindness, compassion, honesty, and integrity, both toward ourselves and others. For me, practicing ethical living has been a transformative journey. At times, the path is challenging, as it often requires us to choose higher principles over convenience or short-term desires. For instance, choosing compassion in moments of anger can feel difficult, especially when we're hurt or frustrated. However, through reflection, I've come to realize that it's precisely in these moments that our actions hold the most weight. By choosing to act with kindness, we not only benefit the other person but also foster peace within ourselves. Honesty is another critical aspect of ethical living. There have been times in my life when it seemed easier to tell a small lie or avoid uncomfortable truths. However, Buddhism teaches that honesty is not just about telling the truth to others, but also being truthful to ourselves. When we align our actions with our true values, we create a sense of harmony within, and this alignment strengthens our integrity. This doesn't mean that we should be harsh or brutal in our truth-telling, but it calls for mindfulness in how we express ourselves with authenticity and respect for others. Living ethically also requires us to cultivate self-awareness. By regularly checking in with ourselves, we become more conscious of our motivations. Are we acting from a place of fear, ego, or selfish desire, or are we responding with compassion and understanding? In Buddhist teachings, self-awareness is key because it helps us recognize where we may be falling short of our values, offering us the opportunity to adjust and realign. With time and practice, these ethical choices become more automatic, and they guide us toward greater spiritual growth. I've found that even small ethical decisions can accumulate and create significant shifts in our lives. Whether it's taking a moment to listen deeply to someone, choosing patience over irritation, or practicing generosity when it's inconvenient, these actions shape our character and our interactions with the world. When we consistently make these choices, we not only cultivate a sense of inner peace but also contribute to the well-being of others. Ultimately, ethical living is not about perfection but about striving to act in alignment with our highest values. Moment by moment, as we practice kindness, honesty, and integrity, we become more attuned to the interconnectedness of all beings. recognizing that our actions have the power to influence the world in ways both subtle and profound. This is the essence of Buddhist precepts, living in a way that promotes peace, compassion, and wisdom, creating a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves. Chapter 6. Compassion, the heart of Buddhist practice. Compassion, or karuna, is the foundation of Buddhist practice, and it extends far beyond the traditional understanding of sympathy. True compassion involves a deep, active desire to relieve the suffering of all beings, whether human or non-human. This quality of empathy allows us to connect with others on a profound level. And when practiced sincerely, it has the power to transform our own hearts as well. I've found that integrating compassion into daily life requires mindfulness and intentionality. It's not always about making grand gestures, rather, it's about small, consistent actions. Sometimes, simply being present with someone, offering a listening ear without judgment, or showing patience in difficult moments can be deeply compassionate acts. These seemingly minor acts create a ripple effect, fostering deeper connections and nurturing a sense of understanding in our relationships. Over time, practicing compassion has helped me build resilience and openness in my own heart. Rather than responding with frustration or defensiveness, I've learned to approach life's challenges with gentleness, recognizing that everyone is fighting battles we may not see. This has made my interactions more meaningful and has created a sense of peace within myself. Through compassion, we not only alleviate the suffering of others but also cultivate inner calm and emotional growth. Chapter 7. Embracing acceptance and resilience. Embracing acceptance and resilience is essential to overcoming the challenges that life inevitably presents. In Buddhism, suffering is seen not as a punishment, but as a potential pathway to growth. Acceptance doesn't mean passive resignation, but rather acknowledging the reality of our situation without resistance. When we resist what is, we create suffering by clinging to the idea that things should be different. Acceptance, on the other hand, opens us to the possibility of transformation, allowing us to learn from even the most difficult experiences. Resilience complements acceptance by giving us the strength to face adversity with a steady heart. Rather than letting hardship break us, resilience helps us rise from each setback with more wisdom and compassion. It teaches us that challenges are not obstacles to avoid but opportunities to strengthen our inner resolve. I've found that embracing resilience allows me to bounce back from difficulties with a clearer perspective and a deeper understanding of myself. This process of continuous growth is what makes us more capable of handling life's uncertainties with grace. Through acceptance and resilience, we transform suffering into a powerful force for personal evolution. Conclusion. Embracing the path with wisdom. The Buddhist path is not just about escaping suffering, but about fully engaging with life, embracing every moment as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Each challenge we face becomes a teacher, guiding us toward deeper wisdom and understanding. Buddhism teaches us that mindfulness, compassion, and acceptance are essential tools in navigating life's complexities. By applying these practices, we are not only healing ourselves but also contributing to the well-being of others. In my own journey, embracing these teachings has brought me peace and a sense of connection to the world. As I deepen my practice, I find that I respond to life with more clarity, kindness, and resilience. Every moment, no matter how difficult, holds the potential for transformation. This journey is one of continuous evolution, where we grow not only in wisdom but in the ability to live harmoniously with ourselves and others. Through mindfulness and compassion, we create a ripple effect that can lead to a more enlightened and peaceful world.